In this video, I'm going to be explaining, evaluating, and ranking the best and worst business models people are using all over the world with regards to AI. Some are absolute garbage, yet still making millions, while others are genuinely value adding and have the potential to bring in billions. Stick around and find out so that instead of being an idiot on the sidelines waiting for the AI bubble to pop, you can get in the game and make some money before we're all unemployed and on UBI. Let's go. First up, we've got the low-hanging fruit of the industry, the AI wrapper. Conceptually, this is the easiest business model to understand. You're kind of like a digital landlord. You rent an apartment from someone like OpenAI using their API. You paint the walls a nice color, put in some furniture, and then you sublet it to someone else for a premium. Technically, all you're doing is building a pretty user interface that takes a customer's problem, sends it to ChatGPT, and then displays the answer back to them. It's like opening a restaurant where you don't cook any food. You just buy some Big Macs from McDonald's next door, plate them nicely with some added spice, and then sell it for $20. You've probably heard of Cal AI, the revolutionary calorie tracking app where all you have to do is take a photo of your meal and it knows the exact calories. Yeah, absolute garbage. All he's doing is sending your photos to ChatGPT, getting it to guess the calories based on the food, and bam. You now have the least accurate calorie tracking software of all time, bringing in millions of dollars. There's others that provide more value though. Peter Levels, who we've mentioned before, the famous digital nomad and indie hacker, built a wrapper called Photo AI. You upload your ugly selfies, it sends them to a model like Stable Diffusion, and spits back professional headshots you can use for your LinkedIn profile. According to Pete, the site was once pulling in around $138,000 a month. One more example, this wrapper called Formula Bot built by David Bressler. Super simple tool. It turns your text into Excel formulas. So all his app does is sends your text to ChatGPT and asks it to convert it into an Excel formula. He built it as a side project and grew it to $226,000 in monthly recurring revenue. So, easy money, right? S tier? Not exactly. The problem with wrappers is you're building a castle on rented land. You're constantly at risk of what's known as getting Sherlocked, which is when a platform like OpenAI or Apple or whoever decides to build your feature into their main product. In 2023, startups like PDF.ai were printing money. They were one of the only places you could upload a PDF and then talk to ChatGPT about it. Until the evil, pasty, dough-faced Sam Altman decided to just build that functionality directly into ChatGPT, where you can now natively upload and read PDFs. Overnight, the value proposition of those PDF reading startups evaporated. So while cash flow for AI wrappers is S tier, the longevity is F tier. You're not building a business for the next decade, you're catching a wave before it crashes. So overall ranking, C+ tier. Next on the list, we're moving into the service business side of town. AI automation agencies, or AAA. This business model is all about doing the grunt work required to set up automated workflows for businesses and people who are too busy, too lazy, or too stupid to do it themselves. You aren't coding any new software, you're just connecting existing software together for boring businesses who haven't yet done it. So you're kind of like an AI tradie. The same way a dentist will call a plumber to install the pipes and sinks, and a Sparky to handle all the electricals, he might also call an AI agency to help automate his CRM workflow. Again, you're probably not touching a single line of code. You're more interested in using tools like Zapier to connect other people's code to your client's business. Here's a quick example. Let's say you go to a real estate agent, also known as the most useless people in the world who I can't wait for AI to replace. And you say to them, hey, I can build a system where every time a lead lands on your website, AI will instantly draft a personalized email, send it to them, and then alerts your sales team on Slack. You set that up once and charge them a monthly service fee to keep the pipes running. And since the business model is B2B, the economics make a lot of sense. You're basically just paying for a subscription to Zapier or Make.com, which is like $20 to $50 a month, and then you're charging clients anywhere from a couple of $100 to a couple of $1,000 a month, depending on how complex the automation flow is. Liam Otley is one of, if not the face of the AAA business model. So if you wanted to learn more, I'd definitely recommend checking out his channel. But anyways, how are we ranking this one? Well, here's why it's not S tier. 1, it's a grind. This is not passive income in any way, shape, or form. It's a service business, and you're the bottleneck. So if an API breaks at 3 a.m. on a Sunday, you're the one that has to fix it. You have clients, deadlines, and headaches. The second thing is that your risk of getting Sherlocked is always there too. Just like with the AI wrappers, the big dogs are always coming for your profit share. Companies like Microsoft and Salesforce are constantly trying to build agentic AI tools into their pre-existing products. And once they do, it means their millions of pre-existing clients now only have to press a couple of buttons to set up their automated workflow rather than paying you $1,000 a month. And one final thing, the toxicity of this business model. If you've spent any time on Reddit or YouTube, you've probably seen thousands of people selling how to start your own AI agency courses, often being advertised and sold by people who've never made a single dollar from AI automation, but are making a ton of money by telling you how to do so. So overall, it's a great place to start. You don't need any complex skills or startup capital, and the majority of work is going to be in sales and client management. But because you're directly trading time for money and you're also fighting against Microsoft and whoever else, its value caps out. So we're going to go solid B tier. Next on the list, we have arguably the most controversial business model in the entire industry, programmatic SEO, also known as the infinite content glitch. You ever heard of the dead internet theory? The idea that the internet and all the content we've uploaded, articles, tweets, comments, etc., aren't real humans talking to humans anymore, but rather bots creating content for other bots to read. Well, this business model is basically proof that that theory is real. Here's the idea. Imagine you wanted to start a blog to make money from ads. In the old days, you'd have to hire a human writer to write 50 articles, which would take, 3 to 6 months and cost maybe $5,000. But these days, you don't write, you flood. You download a competitor's sitemap, which is basically just a list of every article they've ever written. You feed it into an AI tool and say, write me a unique version of every single one of these 5,000 topics. And then you upload them all. Instantly. The most famous example of someone making a killing from this was a guy called Jake Ward. In late 2023, he pulled off what he famously called the SEO heist. He targeted a competitor's website, exported their entire URL list, and used AI to generate 1,800 articles in a few hours. What happened? He went from 0 traffic to 3.6 million organic visitors. He essentially stole his competitor's traffic along with the ad revenue that comes with it without writing a single word. And for a little while, this was the ultimate S-tier glitch. You'd spend $1,000 on AI article writing to make $50,000 in ad revenue. Big Lizzo-sized issues though. See, Google ain't stupid. They realized their search results were filling up with AI slop, and so they released a massive core update that specifically targeted these content farms, basically nuking them. And as for Jake Ward, after bragging about his heist on X, his site views didn't just drop, they fell off a cliff. Google completely de-indexed him. His traffic literally went to 0 overnight. So where does this leave us? Well, it's a high grift game. You're polluting the internet with dogshit content in order to steal ad revenue. Maybe back in 2023, it could be considered a nice little A-tier arbitrage strat. These days, you're just playing cat and mouse with Google engineers. Yes, you might make a decent amount of money one month, but it's not a sustainable business model. It's more of a smash and grab robbery game. And because of that, gotta put this one in D tier. Real quick guys, if you're serious about building an AI agency or any kind of business for that matter, your domain name needs to do one job. Tell people where to find your business online. And that's exactly what a .online domain does, the sponsor of today's video. Here's what's great about them. .online is the second largest new domain name extension in the world with over 3.5 million businesses using it. The word online gets searched over 500 million times per month globally, which means having it in your domain gives you built-in SEO benefits. And here's what sold me. You can actually get the domain name you want, not some weird variation with extra words or characters. Like Maluma.online, the Colombian artist with 100 million followers, didn't need to compromise on his brand name. Same with Ace.online, an Indian education platform with 10 million monthly visitors. The inventory is massive, so you're not stuck settling for your second choice like you would be trying to find a .com that hasn't been squatted on since 2003. You can grab a .online domain at GoDaddy, Namecheap, or any other major registrar, but for my audience specifically, use code MAKEMONEY at get.online and you'll get your first year for only 99 cents. Make sure to use the link in the description, and a massive thanks to .online for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. Next on the list, we're moving from stealing traffic to stealing hearts, which is super embarrassing. This is the AI influencer business model, built entirely upon the simp economy. Very simple concept, equally sad and kinda creepy though. All you're doing is managing an Instagram model who doesn't even exist. You use tools like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion for the images, 11labs for the voice, and all of a sudden you've created a realistic persona. She posts gym selfies, she travels to Bali, she even replies to your DMs. What a nice change for a lot of you. The main business model is funneling thirsty men from the comments and DMs to a paid subscription like FanView, which is the OnlyFans for AI. I can't believe this even fucking exists. The most famous example though is Aitana Lopez, the pink-haired 25-year-old model from Spain. She has almost 400k followers on Instagram and brings in thousands of dollars a month in brand deals. Then you've got influencers like Karen AI, who was based on the human influencer Karen Marjorie. She trained the AI on her own voice and charged fans $1 a minute to be their virtual girlfriend. In the first weeks of launching, Karen AI made $71,000. So what's the verdict? Financially, pretty great margins. No employees, no travel costs, and your model never sleeps, complains, ages, or fires you. Ethically, it's pretty grim. You're monetizing loneliness and tricking people into emotional connections with a Python script. If you're a make money at all costs kind of guy, then whatever. You do you, king. But I'd rather try and add value to the world. And the biggest negative to this model is the risk, because you're fighting a war against the platforms. Instagram hates this stuff. Meta have been aggressively shadow banning AI accounts that don't self-label, so you're forever on their hit list. The second risk is there's zero barrier to entry. Every teenager and his dog can hop onto Midjourney and generate a baddie in a sundress. So overall, I'm putting it in D tier for dog shit. Next on the list, we're starting to move into the bigger leagues. This is Enterprise AI Consulting, the big boy version of the AI automation agencies. So instead of targeting your local dentist or barber shop as clientele, these guys are going after the biggest dogs in the world. I'm talking Fortune 500 companies, law firms, investment banks, etc. The core concept is relatively simple. Massive corporations like Goldman Sachs or any kind of top-tier law firm cannot just use ChatGPT. Major privacy breach. They can't just upload secret client files to third-party software. So what do? They hire a consultant to build them their very own private AI brain. So the consultant will do something like take an open source model like Llama 3 and do what's known as fine-tuning and RAG, or randomized ask grabbing. Oh, shit. No, not that. That's what I'm doing this Friday. RAG stands for Retrieval Augmented Generation, and it's basically giving the LLM its own personal library of data and private files to pull from. So all these guys are essentially doing is taking a generic, already programmed and smart large language model and forcing it to read all of the firm's legal contracts and documentation so that you end up with your own in-house ChatGPT that doesn't leak any secrets and has full context on all the work your company's involved in. Pretty cool. And what's cooler is the money. These boys are getting paid the big bucks. According to recent 2026 data from Quokka Labs, enterprise-grade AI projects are currently being quoted from $400k to $1 million a project. Take a company like Lamini AI, for example. They've just raised $25 million to do this exact job for Fortune 500 companies like AMD. And here's the best part about this business model. It's the only one on the list that's Sherlock-proof. Pasty-face, fake nice guy Shmuel Altman can release all the updates he wants with whatever new stupid features he thinks are cool, but for the companies building enterprise-grade AI software, it won't matter, because their clients are looking for sovereign AI, the kind that lives on their own hardware behind their own firewalls in their own hands with complete control. So even though it's got one of the highest barriers to entry, because you actually have to be skilled and competent when you play in the big boys arena, it also has one of the highest pays, as well as the best longevity heading into the future. S tier. Second last business model on the list, we have the people selling shovels, the data labeling side of the industry. We like to think of AI as this magical alien intelligence that just knows shit. In reality though, every smart answer that ChatGPT gives you was built upon knowledge once handed down by a human. The teaching process is known as RLHF, or Reinforcement Learning from Human Feedback. Basically, the AI spits out a couple of answers and humans grade those answers, teaching the AI which was better and why. The king of this business model is a company called Scale AI, founded by Alexander Wang, the guy who's now basically just an employee of Meta after Zucks bought 49% of the company for $14 billion. Anyways, back in 2016, he realized that while everyone else was trying to build the best algorithm, nobody was focusing on building the best fuel for the algorithms. So he built an entire army of human labelers to feed the machines. In the early days, this was a bunch of guys scattered all over the world in countries like Kenya, India, Nigeria, etc., clicking on pictures of traffic lights and fire hydrants for $2 an hour. Basically just digitized sweatshops. These days though, AI is too smart for that level of work. We're moving on to harder problems, like teaching them calculus, law, engineering principles, physics. And so companies like Outlier.ai, who's owned by Scale, are hiring PhDs, high-level programmers, and Math Olympiad winners and paying them $50 an hour to write complex puzzles designed to stump the AI models. We've essentially moved from blue-collar data labeling to white-collar data labeling. So, where do we rank this one? Well, companies like Scale AI have effectively become the toll booth for the AI industry. You have to pay them in order to build anything substantial. Pretty genius. But similar to other tech products, it's looking like a heavy winner-take-all market. After all, why would you train your AI model on second-grade data if you can just get top-tier data directly from Scale AI? Which means, if you're Scale AI, the business model is S+ tier. But since you're not, it's going to have to be downgraded to a B+ tier. Because how the hell are you going to compete? Anyways, it's time to move on to the final business model of the video. This one's definitely the most technical, most interesting, and has the biggest upside. For the whole video, we've been talking about businesses who either use AI, like the rappers and agencies, or businesses who feed the AI, like Scale. But what about actually being the AI? This business model is building proprietary artificial intelligence. The rapper bros, the agencies, the consultants, they're all essentially renting intelligence from Shmuel Altman. This business model, though, is more akin to competing with Altman. You're not just calling an API, you're hiring 20 PhDs, buying 10 mil worth of GPUs, and you're training your own neural network from scratch to do one thing better than anyone else on Earth. The idea is known as vertical AI. So we know ChatGPT is great, but it's a jack of all trades. It's pretty good at law, it's pretty good at art, it's pretty good at medicine. But if you're a lawyer facing a $100 million lawsuit, pretty good ain't gonna cut it. You want Harvey Specter to come in and save the day. And so enter Harvey AI. They didn't try to build a chatbot for everyone, they built a model exclusively for elite law firms. You've reduced the scope of your AI, so you get to say, forget about the maths, forget about the physics, forget coding, focus on this one thing and be the absolute best at it. Harvey AI is now around an $8 billion valuation and are making around $200 million a year. Or look at Midjourney. The founder David Holtz didn't want to use OpenAI's DALL-E. He wanted his own that was specifically focused on image generation. They're now doing around $500 million annual revenue and don't need to pay OpenAI a frickin' penny. So, the verdict. Definitely the hardest model on the list. You need millions of dollars in capital and you need a bunch of genius nerds to pull it off. But if you do, you're probably not going to become a millionaire because you're already a billionaire. And the risk of getting Sherlocked? Well, the risk is now reversed. You're now the company that little startups are worried about Sherlocking them. Overall, A+ tier. That's all for this video, my friends. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know down below in the comments what video you'd like to see next. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.